Hi guys, I'm Rex King. Welcome back to another episode where I review films currently in theaters. And we're on the first movie of 2024. Let's hope it's not a tone setter. Because we're talking about Night Swim. So, Night Swim was directed by Brian Maguire. It is a horror movie that follows this family that moves into this new house that has this pool, and it becomes quite apparent that there is something up with this pool, and they start to see some weird stuff when it comes to the pool. And this film's story is really poorly paced. Now, the movie is based off a short film of the same name. In fact, the opening really kind of feels like a short film. And a short film can be extended out to make a feature-length movie. We've seen that done before, especially in the horror genre. But here, this film is just a bunch of one-note things that we've seen in better horror movies Frankenstein together to try to make a workable story that is just so boring and lame, and we've seen it a dime a dozen times before. Not to mention, the film relies heavily on jump scares, and they're not really that effective either. To make matters worse, the atmosphere in the film doesn't really lend itself to being a great horror film. There are some cool topics that the film is trying to tackle, and some cool ideas that the film presents. Unfortunately, it's just not fully recognized enough to become a fully coherent story that is interesting. This isn't helped by the fact that the characters are just written so poorly. None of these characters feel like real people, and none of these characters are interesting in the slightest. Again, there are some small moments that kind of work for certain characters, but they're like completely irrelevant to what's really going on. Furthermore, the performances are not great. Now, all the performers seem to be doing at least trying to do a good job, but the direction that the film goes in just doesn't work. The film really, when you start to think about it, is about a haunted swimming pool. And that concept is ridiculous. But the film plays it so straight that it doesn't work. It's like people were reading the script and just didn't know if this was supposed to be over the top ridiculous or if this was just being too serious for its own good. And honestly, that's the huge issue with the film. The visuals are not awful, to be honest with you. There are some cool underwater scenes, especially towards the end of the film, but they're few and far between. Everything else in the film is just kind of standard, and again, we've seen it a dozen times before. There aren't any moments that made me want to turn away because of how bad the film looked, so at least the film has that going for it. As for the music, well, it's, again, every soundtrack we've heard to a horror movie like this before. There's nothing new here, and that's the problem. Night Swim just feels like a bunch of other traits we've seen in better horror movies slammed together with bad characters, acting that didn't feel like it knew where it wanted to go, and that is really kind of the problem that the film faces. At the end of the day, Night Swim is a waste of time. If you've seen any horror movie, congratulations, you've seen Night Swim, because Night Swim has no originality going for it whatsoever. And that is just absolutely terrible to say for the first film of the year. I'm going to give Night Swim a 3 out of 10. I do not recommend this one. There are literally 100 other horror movies that do this type of concept better. The short film's actually better than the full-length movie, so check that one out, but leave this movie completely alone. Oh, God, I hope 2024 is better than this. Anyway, that's what I felt about Night Swim. What do you think about it if you've seen it? Let me know in the comments below, and if you like this video, like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next time.